And I just got to a point in time where I said, nah, look, the time is now. And I stepped across that line, and it saved me another 14 years of my life. And that would have, I served 18, it would have been 32 years of my whole life spent in prison or juvenile justice. And to be able to turn that around, what did that look like? I said, you've got something powerful up here to be able to do that. Not only tell yourself you're going to do it, but be able to turn around and say, how can you stick to that? How can you be consistent? How have you been consistent? Where does the discipline and accountability come from? And that's a great tool that you could pass on to any human being to get the most out of their life around the perception of what they want out of life, and the rest was history. So learn, grow, prosper from the experience. So you have an experience of life. We learn from that experience. We grow from that experience. We prosper for the rest of our life, because it means usually if we've taken the lessons from that, we're not going to step back into that. Unfortunately, sometimes the habits and rituals of a human being are so entrenched or ingrained that, as you know, to rewire our mindset, we're going to have to repeat that effort solidly until these neural pathways connect, and obviously allow that inner junction to occur at a regular basis, because we've built strength through that area from repetitive action. And I always say that around the human muscle, the more we lift weights, the stronger that weight the muscle becomes. And in time, the same principle applied to these habits, these rituals. And I look at them, is this strengthening me, or is this actually weakening me? And as I said, go through that whole process, constructive, destructive, good, bad. And it really made me become very intentional and very directional. And that meant that I wasn't going to waste time. I got a little principle. A is when you're born, B is when you die. What do you want in between that? Go out and design that, and then live that every single day, and you'll find that your life will be beautiful. And that's where I got to this point where I'd chuck out what I didn't want, keep what I did want. And I realized I'd actually designed the life that I wanted from that point in time. And that's what we basically help people do. Design your life, keep you accountable and responsible to the words that come out of your mouth.
So on this podcast, we talk about quite a lot of leadership subjects, things like resilience and self-reflection, self-awareness, empathy, the importance of all of these things, but it's usually quite abstract.
Yep.
And I think that's what's so powerful about your story and your journey is we can see through the way you tell it as well, how important all of those things actually can be, and how life-changing they can be, what a difference they can make, not just for leadership, but for just life. So, thank you for sharing that story.
That's where I know, because we deal with people. And even, I still got a lot of people that will reach out and obviously know my background and now the podcasts are out and people from different states, different countries. And I say to them, you still got, as human beings, we've got qualities. So did I work hard, or was I persevering? The reticular activating system. I don't know if you play spotto in England, but we play this game here in Australia. It's called spotto. And basically, when you're a young kid, you're spotting the yellow car, right? Yeah, and I don't know if you play some sort of game over there of that nature.
We play that. But we call it something different. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So exactly right? So you call it, and this is the whole reframing conversation, like two different countries, same game, different name, right? And then you say, oh, well, you're wrong, David. All it comes down to is your own perception, right, of who's right or wrong. But in the end, if it's not positive, if it's not constructive, it's not good, those little principles I spoke about before, then I'll just push it to the side. And once that, for people that get an understanding around this conversation, that reticular activating system, if you play spotto, and I don't know what it's called there, but in general, if it's a yellow car, all of a sudden, yellow cars are everywhere. Oh, spotto, and you get a point for each of these cars. That's how the brain focuses when you focus on one particular thing, or you're actually looking for one particular thing. Aggressive patience, or just patience. And what I mean by that, it sounds very conflicting. Don't fight when you're doing that. Whatever you do, that's not fighting somebody. It is more just being committed to a journey relentlessly, and knowing that life's a marathon. But what we want, as I said, is a drive-through society. I want it yesterday, and I want it with the whole lot. Rise, give me the nuggets, the whole lot. So I think once we understand that it's a journey and it's a marathon, how can we start to train ourselves up to get to the end of that marathon? Which means you're going to have to put in some groundwork, be directional about it. You don't go out and run in your shoes, as an example, for a marathon. So you're preparing and you're making sure that you're prepared for this marathon with the right tools to equip you to go down that path where you are, as I said, aggressively, which means you're constantly in the face of the goals, dreams, aspirations that you do have. And that's written out in front of yourself.